It's surprising how many people don't realize the car they drive every day is shaking excessively, myself included. You see, when I was doing an oil change for my Mazda CX-7 a couple of weeks ago, I noticed my right engine mount was leaking oil. Well, more like squirting oil. And that means it's time for it to go. Today I'm going to walk you through an essential car maintenance task, changing an engine mount. Engine mounts are crucial for keeping your engine stable and prevent excessive shaking or vibration. Over time, they do wear out and needs to be replaced. So first things first, what exactly is an engine mount? Simply put, it's the component that holds your engine in place, connecting it to the car's frame. My Mazda CX-7 has 3 engine mounts. They are designed to absorb vibration from the engine and prevent those shakes from reaching the rest of the vehicle. A worn-out mount can lead to noticeable vibration, clunking noise, and even damage to other engine parts. So if you find signs that your car engine mount might be worn out, do not wait, change it immediately. Before we start, safety is the #1 priority. We're working on heavy parts here, and I don't want to turn myself into a pancake today. So I started by parking my car on a flat, level surface and putting wheel chokes behind the rear tires to prevent the car from rolling. I used my hydraulic floor jack to lift the front end, supported by jack stands on either side of the car. We then need to remove the underbody splash cover, if your car has one. This is because we need floor access to provide support for the engine. You don't want the engine to fall when you remove the mount, right? So place a few blocks of wood on the jack pad to protect the oil pan, then slowly raise the jack until it just touches the engine. You don't want to lift the engine too much, just enough to support it so there's no strain on the mounts when you remove them. Now that the engine is supported, we can remove the old mount. Engine mounts are usually bolted to the frame and to the engine, so we'll need to remove a few bolts. Use a socket wrench to remove the bolts that connect to the engine mount, to the engine block, and the vehicle's frame. Some cars might have a heat shield or other components in the way, so take those off first if necessary. With the bolts removed, carefully lift the old engine mount out of its bracket. If it feels stuck, you may need to gently tap it loose. Well, in my case, tapping didn't quite work, so I raised the jack that supported the engine by just a tiny bit, and the engine mount loosened up. Finally, my old engine mount is out. I need to separate it from the bracket underneath. The bolt is really tight, so I had to use the help of a table vise. Now it's a good time to compare the old mount with the new one. Make sure the new mount matches up exactly with the old one, including bolt holes and alignment. The new engine mount needs to be fastened to the bracket. In my case, the torque is around 95 Nm. Now it's time to install the new engine mount, positioning it into the bracket, making sure it lines up perfectly with the bolt holes. Once the mount is in position, hand tighten the bolts first to make sure everything lines up. Then use your socket wrench to fully tighten the bolts. Be sure to follow the manufacturer's recommended torque specs, which you can find in your car's service manual. It's also a good habit to use some blue Loctite. And when the nuts are properly fastened, mark the nuts with a paint marker. This is so that you can quickly make sure they don't loosen themselves over time. Just be gentle with the paint marker when you're at it. Don't spill the paint like what I did. Now everything's back in place. Take a moment to do a final check. Check that the engine mount is properly seated. There are no loose parts or obstructions. Start the engine and let it run for a few moments. Check for any unusual vibrations or noise. My little trick is I touch the engine to feel its vibrations, then I touch the car frame. With a new engine mount, the engine vibration should not transfer to the car frame at all. Then sit at the driver's seat Again, there shouldn't be any noticeable vibrations. And that's it. Changing an engine mount might seem like a daunting task, but with the right tools and a careful approach, it's totally doable by anyone. Not only does a fresh engine mount make your car run smoother, but it also helps protect other components from unnecessary wear and tear. Remember, engine mounts are vital for preventing excessive vibration and keeping your engine stable. So if you notice shaking or hear strange noises, don't hesitate to check those mounts. That might be the reason. Thanks for watching, and before you go, why don't you check out my channel and subscribe for more do-it-yourself tips. Until next time, safe driving.